The Unreal Engine 5 large-scale Vietnam shooter that you've been waiting for has now launched its Kickstarter. And that game is Burning Lands. And we're going to go over the Kickstarter today. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on the Kickstarter and their goals going forward. So full disclosure, I am a partnered content creator for this game. Unfortunately, I can't give you my thoughts and opinions on how the game plays yet. They've had a bunch of tests, which I could have participated in, but they've always been at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just can't make those times. So, what is Burning Lands? It's a tactical, combined arms warfare game where you pretty much fight together and win the game, right? Combined arms means it's going to be a combination of infantry, land, water, and air. And in Burning Lands, it looks like that the servers are going to be sized at 120 players, because it does mention here each 60-player team, which is awesome. And when the game launches, it is going to have 3 factions: the US Army, the People's Army of Vietnam, and the NLF, also known as Viet Cong. They do have some stretch goals, and their first goal for the actual Kickstarter is $50,000 US, which is to continue development. What I am a bit confused by is you have a stretch goal of $110,000 to get into early access, which I would have thought the whole point of the Kickstarter would be to get to early access. So I'm not sure what's going to happen if this stretch goal isn't reached. It seems a bit strange to me, but I guess they'll just keep pushing forward with development and eventually get to early access. But if they get more money, they can get more staff in and probably get it done a bit quicker. We're going to get dismemberment. I hope really that would be in the game on launch, not maybe early access launch, but down the line, because dismemberment is cool. Big ass armor, new map, new city. I really love urban environments in these sorts of large scale games. Amphibious vehicles, Aussie forces, which will come with extra map, emplacements, another force, the ARVN, flamethrowers, and console editions. And just to note, anyone who backs the Kickstarter will get a copy for all console systems that they make it available for, which is pretty awesome. So, who is developing this game? Well, it's a company called 0 Hour Interactive. It is their first game as a company. They have currently 20 members across 7 countries, so it's a remote-based team, kind of like how Hell Let Loose did it, and many others really. And they have a bunch of people with experience in this genre of shooter, the large-scale sort of tactical hardcore games like Armed Assault, which is the original Operation Flashpoint, Squad, Beyond the Wire, Hell Let Loose, Tarkov, the other 2 Arma games, and Thunder Tier 1, which was like a top-down sort of isometric shooter. For the in-game systems, it's going to have VoIP, similar to Squad and Hell Let Loose, where I guess it's going to be local squad-based chat and a command chat for squad leaders and the commander to chat to. There's rallies and depots. If you're coming from Squad, a rally is a rally. A depot is like your FOB or HAB. And for Hell Let Loose players, a rally is your outpost and a depot is your garrison. Now, there's going to be deployables, I guess, from day one, which includes sandbags, emplacements, fixed machine guns for support and fire. You know, just these little bases you can build around. Again, Squad players are going to know this because they always build FOBs and stuff. And Hell Let Loose players is like building a garrison and putting down loads of extra fortifications to create a more fortified position. Let's go over how supplies are going to work. And supplies will be physical crates in the game. You can either load them into vehicles like trucks, but they will take up seating capacity, load them into a helicopter, or sling load them, which we'll get into sling loading a little bit later on. But with the PAVN and NLF factions who don't have access to helicopters, there will be a unique role for them, which will allow them to carry supplies and steal supplies from enemy depots. And that role is the pack mule. So the pack mule can carry backpacks, which will function as crates. They place them on the ground, and they can be used to resupply people with ammo, grenades, and medical stuff. But also the pack mule can drop supplies, so the Op4 forces can use those supplies from the pack mule to build stuff instead of driving supplies out on trucks. And yes, they can steal them from the enemy depots as well, which is pretty cool. It will be interesting to see how in-game this sort of lines up really in terms of a balance, because I think helicopters will be able to get supplies out pretty quickly, and with the pack mules it says they do have to resupply themselves. So playing as a pack mule guy, if there's no enemy depots close by that you can easily steal from, you may have to trek back quite a bit to get your own stuff resupplied. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, onto a bit of a unique role for Burning Lands, which is the Radio Man, because the Radio Man helps with map visibility. So, when the Radio Man is within a certain radius of the squad leader, all members of that squad will receive up-to-date friendly icons of the entire friendly team on their maps. But if the Radio Man leaves that radius or is killed or downed, the icons will fade out and then eventually be gone from your map. So the Radio Man is going to be an incredibly important role for every squad to have, and you are going to be tied pretty much to your squad leader, because I think if squads don't have Radio Men, you may end up getting a bunch of friendly fire incidents. While it may be a bit obvious as to who an enemy is based on what they're wearing, some people may just sort of mistake that in the moment and not check maps maybe to see where friendlies are positioned and end up killing people. But it'd be interesting to see how that plays. But it does say there are some exceptions. Friendly vehicles will always be visible on the map, but also if you're within a certain radius of your rally point, your depot or your main base, you will still get those up-to-date icons on the map. But if you go further away from those, you're going to need that Radio Man close to your squad leader. But also it seems that your squad has a certain radius, and if other friendlies get within the radius of your squad, you will spot them even if your Radio Man is down, so that's pretty good. Now, tunnels. Now this seems pretty cool, but it's for the Op4 team only. So the engineer and squad leader can place down 2 hatches on the ground, and they have to be within a certain distance of each other, and once those are constructed, they pretty much open up a prefabricated tunnel under the map. This tunnel will be sized correctly depending on how far away the hatches are, but also the engineer and squad leader, or the Op4 team in general, can build a depot in the tunnel as well, effectively turning it into a nearly completely hidden spawn point for the entire team. Now the Blue 4 teams, they can infiltrate these tunnels and disable the spawn, but they can also use their shovels or explosives to destroy the hatches, which will kill everyone and everything inside, which is pretty cool. But also they can just remove one hatch, leaving the other one available, but that means the team, the enemy team spawning down there can only escape through that one hatch, and you could just have like an emplaced machine gunner just watching that hatch, waiting for anyone to come out of it and just gun them down. But I think if that happened, people would just stop spawning there. But it's a cool little thing you can do. There will be multiple types of squads in Burning Lands. You have the command squad, which will have 3 members in, infantry squad, which is 8, engineering squad, which will have 4 for Blue 4 or 6 for Op 4, armor squad for 3, and a sniper squad for 2. Now I like that there's 8 people in the infantry squad. I think a lot of games that have just like 6 is too low. I like to see higher numbers, so 8 is a good count for me. Be interesting to see what the other 2 members of the command squad will do, because you will have the commander, and with the engineering squad it's kind of like a dedicated building and logistic team. We have all the roles available in the game. We've got the commander, the various squad leader roles, pack mule, radio man, medic, grenadier, sniper, marksman, pilot, breacher, which I guess will be like a shotgun based role, crewman, anti-armor, anti-air, machine gunner, sapper, tunneler, and then your rifleman and recruit. While it doesn't go into details of what these roles offer so far, at least in the Kickstarter I've gone through, apart from the radio man and the pack mule, I do know, I'm pretty sure that the recruit role is someone who hasn't joined any squad. They can still spawn, but they have the most basic equipment and hardly any ammo, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so some examples of the vehicles we're going to get in the game. We've got the M48 tank, UH-1 helicopter, the PT-76 light tank, and the PBR boats. And of course, this is what the armor squads are going to use and the crewmen are going to use. Here's a look at a couple of the other vehicles. Now, pilots, if you want to fly a helicopter, you're going to have to take the pilot kit. And the pilot role can be selected within the infantry squads or the engineer squad. So you could be a pilot in an engineer squad, focusing on moving vehicles around with the helicopter, or moving supplies around with the helicopter, or being a pilot in an infantry squad, focusing on maybe close fire support or transporting infantry around. And with helicopters, yes, you can sling load, which is basically this. Pick up stuff and carry it around, which is really cool. And I can see quite a bit of trolling being done with this, like picking up a vehicle and just dropping it somewhere, and I'm pretty sure you can pick up enemy vehicles. But of course, it's not really going to be a quick thing, and you're going to be very vulnerable if you try that, but it could be pretty cool. And yes, amphibious vehicles. I did say there will be the PBR in the game. There will be sampans as well, and some other amphibious vehicles. So you're going to be going down those rivers in those boats, and there's going to be people on VoIP blasting out music. One thing that's cool that's going to be in Burning Lands is you can capture certain enemy light vehicles. They will have limited combat potential, but I think how this would mainly be used is enemy like supply vehicles, like trucks. If someone drives a supply truck around and drops some supplies but leaves the vehicle available with supplies, someone can capture it. It takes that vehicle and they gain the supplies as well, which is cool. So keep an eye on those vehicles, because the Blue 4 team will see their vehicles on the map at all times. Now, if that vehicle suddenly disappears, has it been destroyed or has it been captured? So the medical system, if you've played squad, I think it's pretty much going to work similar to that. If you get hit, you'll start to bleed, you need to bandage yourself, but you'd have lost some health and you need a medic to fully heal you back up, exactly like squad. And if you get downed, a medic will revive you with an IV bag to bring you back to full health. So there is a resource system in Burning Lands. First, we have brass points. And brass points are basically used for commander abilities, like calling in a fire support mission, like artillery or something, or air support, which hopefully brings in like an F4 Phantom, I think they use in Vietnam, to drop some bombs or whatever, like a napalm strike. That would be cool. It doesn't seem like you can build anything to generate brass points faster, like Hell Let Loose, where you build nodes to generate resources. It just seems like they regenerate across the whole game, so you need to make sure you don't just dump all your abilities straight away. You need to make sure you have a nice amount of brass points so you can put down some emergency strikes if needed. Next, we have morale points. Now, morale points are used for squad leaders, and these are earned by players doing certain stuff like reviving squad mates, dropping off supplies, transporting troops, getting kills. But also you can earn them by defending or capturing locations marked by the commander, which pretty much means the commander can give orders out, you follow those orders, you get rewarded with these morale points, which you can use, or the squad leader can use, for certain abilities. But it doesn't really say what these abilities are. It says one here is that you can refresh your rally point. Now, if you've played something like Squad, I think, and Postscriptum, your rally point has a timer on it, and it will basically destroy itself if you don't refresh it. I hate that system. To me, it's like babysitting like a hunger meter in a survival game. It's there for it's just stupid, I think, these refreshes on rally points. If I could have my say, I would say get rid of having to refresh rally points. I don't think it adds anything good to the game at all. But it'd be interesting to see what other abilities the squad leader can use using these morale points. Although saying that, with this small paragraph here, it looks like that morale points can be used on commander abilities, which the squad leader will call in. So maybe the squad leader can call in airstrikes, but they'll cost more than what brass points would cost. Which, if they could do that, again, that would be really cool. So we have 3 game modes slated to launch with Burning Lands, the first one being Raid. Now, the point of Raid is for the Blue 4 team, such as the US Army, to attack and destroy 2 caches at the control point. Once those have been destroyed, the next control point will be revealed, and then they have to destroy 2 more again. I'm not sure how many control points and caches they have to destroy in total, but that's essentially the game. If you played something like Offensive on Hell Let Loose, it kind of sounds like that, but instead of just capturing the point, you have to destroy 2 things at the point. Next, we have Outpost. And Outpost seems more like a traditional conquest style mode, but in these hardcore tactical shooters. In Squad, it sounds like Assault and Secure, where you have to capture the one control point that's available, like the neutral one, and defend it while trying to capture the next one. It's pretty much like that. For Hell Let Loose players, this is pretty much warfare. And lastly, we have Incursion. Now, Incursion, the Blue 4 team will be attacking the Op 4 points, and because the Op 4 will be holding most, if not all, of the territory on the map. So this is pretty much, again, like an offensive style mode from Hell Let Loose, but only when the Blue 4 teams are assaulting and trying to capture. So with these 3 modes, we pretty much have like a warfare / conquest style mode and 2 attack B defense modes. But on those 2 modes, it's always the blue 4 team, so the US Army, attacking the Op 4. We don't have the reverse of that, which I would like to see. Now, I know some of you would have recognized this logo, Track IR. It's not been mentioned anywhere in the Kickstarter so far, but Track IR is basically something which I think you put on top of your monitor, and it can track where you're looking and move your character's head or where they're looking in game. So it's looking like that. Track IR is going to be supported in Burning Lands, which is pretty cool. But what do I think so far? So, like I said earlier, I am a partnered content creator with Burning Lands. I have yet to play the game because of the tests and recording sessions have been at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, which is far too, well, early or late for me, depending on how you look at it. But from what I've seen so far, it does look like a promising game. I will be keeping a close eye on it and playing it whenever I can and getting information, gameplay, thoughts and impressions out to you guys when I have them. So if that interests you, subscribe to the channel because more Burning Lands content will be coming. And if you like the video, give it a like, dislike if you didn't. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.